is a new day. Pull your bridges up and tie your shoelace. Don't worry about them haters, send them bouquets. Get that dough in a few ways.
Hey everybody, this is Alvin Brown, CEO and founder of the Center for Healing and Peak Performance, and I'm an integrated peak performance consultant and advisor. And in that role, what I've been doing for the last 20 plus years, I've been helping my clients to achieve optimal health, peak performance, and to pursue what brings them most joy in life. And I'm also the author of Journey to Personal Greatness, Mind, Body, and Soul. It's a blueprint for life balance and self-mastery. It's available at all your major bookstores, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Amazon, and in Canada, Chapters Indigo Online. All right, so in case you're first time joining me, I have a special guest today. But in case you're first time joining me, here's how it flows. I give you 3 videos a week. Monday Mindset, a little checkup from the neck up to give you tips and strategies you can use to help get mental and emotional balance. And Wednesday, Humpday Hustle. Today, what we talk about is structure, function, nutrition, how to get the body running right. Because you know, if you feel broken, you can have all the dreams that you want, but you just don't feel like going to go get it if your body isn't working right. So I'm here to talk about that. And Saturday, Soulful Saturday, it's about the soul. We go inside and we talk about how to remain authentic to who you really are. Because there's no use getting to that end line and you lost yourself. And also it's about feeling abundant, feeling like you deserve everything that's coming to you. Because a lot of times we self-sabotage. We get good things coming to us, but we somehow push it away and we self-sabotage and we don't know we're doing it. So I want to talk about how to remain abundant and feel abundant. And also relationships is the last thing I talk about on Soulful Saturdays. I talk about relationships, how to maintain ecology, the people around you. So when you get to that finish line and you look around, everybody there are the people you started with and the ones who love you. So you can have everything, get there with all the wheels on. So that's how we flow. Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. All right. So this is Humpday Hustle. Again, this is part of the week where we talk about nutrition, structure, function. Today we're going to specifically be talking about nutrition. And I've been watching this woman for many years. And I've been inspired by her posts and her dedication to helping people achieve optimal health and peak performance in their own right and reach optimal health. Her specialty, she's a holistic nutritionist, and her specialty is, what do you call you, Colon?
Captain Colon.
Captain Colon. Welcome, Captain Colon. They got Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman premiered this year. Well, Captain Colon's right behind her. She's coming up. So we're going to get some tips and strategies from her. This is Julia Karantjas. Karantjas. Julia Karantjas. We'll be posting her name. And she's going to give you more information so you can get a hold of her once she blows you away with this information. What we're going to talk about today is colon health. Who else will give you that advice, right? Colon health for peak performance. What it can do to you once your colon isn't working right, how you can spot it, and what you can do about it naturally. So I'm going to let her take the flow, and she's going to tell you a bit about more about herself, just a real quick intro, and then we're going to get on with it and talk about colon health for peak performance. All right, here we go. Julia.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having me, Alvin.
Yes, awesome. I'm having you.
So I'm a big fan of colon regularity. A huge complaint, number one, for most people is they have lack of energy. And the first question I like to ask them is, well, how many bowel movements do you have a day? Most people actually don't know. You don't think about it. Why would you? It's not exactly a common topic to chat about, especially if you're having a morning coffee, which is, by the way, when most people have their first bowel movement. This is a red flag. I'm just going to point that out right now. Right. If you are not eliminating properly, dark circles under the eyes, tired, bloated, water retention, and then it's going to lead to a lot of other health concerns like impede liver function, and that's when disease ensues because your toxic load becomes so overload because you've got waste product, garbage. There is garbage sitting in your body and it can't get out. Could you imagine if you had garbage in your house and you just never took it out? Yeah. That's disgusting. Right, that's happening in your body.
Yeah. And it's almost like the sewage. When you think of it that way, my mind's thinking about sewage in a community. When the sewage overflows into the community, it starts to spread throughout. That's kind of like the blood. The liver pours into the blood, the sewage goes into the blood, and then you start to have systemic problems.
Absolutely you do. Your cells become so suffocated in their own toxic waste that they die, okay, and then you get weakened tissue, and that's when disease ensues. So you eat food, but your body doesn't utilize 100% of what you've eaten. There's always going to be waste product. So you eat, you metabolize, you digest, you absorb what you need, and then you need to eliminate. You need to digest, absorb, eliminate. These three processes have to happen in that order all the time. And if you're not eliminating, that's showing us that there's an issue with either digestion or absorption, and it's of course going to lead to another issue. You should be going to the bathroom almost as many times as you're eating, and it should pass quite freely through you. You shouldn't have to sit on the toilet for hours on end. You can choose to, but you shouldn't have to. And it should exit the body without pain and without strain, and I didn't mean to rhyme there. The feces, okay, should be the shape of a banana, it should be the color of a walnut, and it should be the consistency of toothpaste. And if it isn't, this is a sign that something on the inside isn't working. How cool is that, by the way, that every day you get a message from the inside of your body about how healthy it is. That's how much your poop tells you about you. If it's clumpy, if it's dry, if it doesn't come out at all, if it's black, if it's green, these are all messages that the inside of your body is giving you in the toilet every day. Like, you could read a lot from your poop. If there's undigested food in your poop, you're obviously not absorbing the nutrients that were in that food because you couldn't even digest them. Right? This is the problem.
Captain Colon.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to take a look at maybe why you're not eliminating. A lot of people don't eliminate when they're stressed. Your colon is a muscle, and when you're stressed, we tend to walk around quite tense, right? And so if your colon is always tense, it's not going to be able to eliminate what's inside properly. You need to allow for proper peristalsis to happen, and that's a series of muscle contractions. And it's actually the series of contractions that moves food from the very top of your digestive system all the way to the bottom, to the anus, which is your exit point. And if there isn't a muscle contraction there to move the food, then something's going to get stuck. So if you're tense, you're not going to get the contraction, you're not going to get the flow. Also, if you're dehydrated, that's a huge issue. Could you imagine? It's like going down a water slide without water. All right, so this waste product is traveling through the long, large intestine, and there's no water. It's dehydrated completely. It's going to get stuck.
I'm laughing because I remember a friend of mine who he went to go down the slide into the pool, and it was the first time, no one's ever been on it yet, and it's dry. And you can imagine, he went down and then stopped at the end, and all his skin was left on the slide. So it kind of reminds me of this. Without the hydration, you're going to be stuck on that slide, and that's called being bunged up.
It's a strong visual. I get it. It's a bit of an intense analogy, but I feel like it really drives the point home. Okay. Oh my gosh, lack of fiber is another reason why people get constipated. So people wake up in the morning, they either don't have breakfast, which I can't even talk about, or they go and they get a muffin, or they have something that's completely empty of any dietary fiber, and then they skip lunch, and then they go and have a giant plate of white pasta with maybe tomato sauce on it, and your fiber content is basically nil. All right, so the average North American gets around 12 grams of fiber a day. What you actually need for optimum health is 35 grams. Okay, so that's a huge discrepancy. Okay, the average person's getting 12 and you need 35. Okay, how many people actually take a fiber supplement? I do, but I'm pretty sure all the people that I just met at the grocery store do not. Okay, so lack of fiber, being dehydrated, right? And obviously, poor food choices, right? If you're having fake food, there's no nutrients in there. Okay, fiber also, there's two types of fiber. There's soluble and insoluble, and they both have very important roles. So one of them is creating the bulk of your stool, and it's giving it the girth. And then the other fiber is what's cleaning the inside of the colon out, which is extremely important because, again, if there is stuff left on the inside of your colon, that rots and ferments. It actually putrefies, okay? And all of that putrefaction gives off toxins, okay? And then, again, we get that toxic overload in the body. Okay, when your body is really toxic, by the way, you retain a ton of water, and it's your body's natural mechanism for trying to dilute the toxicity. So then you walk around kind of like a water baby, which most people do not want, especially now that it's summer, and all you really need to do is poop, is just focus on how to get your colon moving.
Awesome.
We also have a big issue with our gut health. Okay, there's a lot of pesticides in the food that we eat, and it wreaks complete havoc on not only your small intestine, but also your large intestine, okay? Because the pesticides that are in it destroy like the gastric acid and all of those good bacteria that you have in your gut. And there's different types of bacteria, first of all. Most of us are kind of familiar with this concept. So there's different types of bacteria, some better colonize in the large intestine versus the small. And you have a whole family, trillions actually, of bacteria that inhabit your large intestine and contribute to a million functions in the body. But one of them is colon regularity. And when we're eating food that's constantly laden with these pesticides, every day it's like taking a baseball bat to them. It's like, oh no, dead, die. And eventually these bacteria become very depleted and we become deficient, and we're not able to properly have a bowel movement because we're lacking these bacteria, which is why when people eat yogurt, that's a very basic level thing to do. They might have a proper bowel movement if they do it every day. That's sort of Activia's angle. I don't really subscribe to the Activia thing because you're also putting a lot of sugar in the body. But those probiotic pills, that's why they tend to be effective for people that have constipation issues, because you're repopulating that bacteria that's in the body, which is what allows for proper movement. These are much more effective, by the way, than taking a laxative. A laxative can be useful if you are in pain and agony and you haven't pooped in like a week, which is like mind-blowing to me, just to give yourself like immediate relief. Right. The problem with the laxative, though, is that your body can become dependent on it, right? So we talked before about these muscle contractions. Yeah. So the laxative is what's forcing this contraction, right? For those people that live at home, if your mother came in every day and made your bed, or your father or whomever is your caregiver, would you make your bed? No, because you would just assume you'd get lazy about it. You'd be like, oh, it's going to get done. This is what happens with your colon. It's like, well, I'm going to be lazy because it's going to get done. This contraction's going to happen, and I don't need to work for it because she's going to take
care of it.
Yeah, she's going to give me something and I'm going to get this contraction. This can cause a lot of cramping and spasms in the colon. So taking a laxative can be effective like for a one-time use, but then you got to take a look at, why do I need to take this laxative? What's missing? Is it water? Is it fiber? Am I stressed? Yeah. Right? Do I need to take something to relax the colon?
And I would even stretch one more step further, and added to that is the nervous system. Looking at, again, I always talk about in my previous videos about building your peak performance team, your health team, and looking at the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system that innervates the organs. You know, there's a lot of different routes to getting that colon going, and she's 100% right as Captain Colon. So I wanna switch, because I wanna get her back on again to talk about this gut bacteria stuff. It's really deep, and there's a lot to it. So I wanna keep this surface and then have her back to talk just about gut bacteria and what you can do about it, and all the different sauerkraut and all the different things
fermentation,
you can do, fermenting and so on. But that's a whole other area. So, but I'm going to keep this one as an intro, as simple. Now I want to ask her, what can you do? 2 tips you can do to get the health back. Start the process of getting your health back, other than coming to see someone like her or another practitioner that's geared at helping that. But what can you do on your own? What can they do on their own to get started?
So really basic, drink more water. Lubricate.
How much?
At least, well, for the average person, 8 glasses is good. Yeah. So strive for those 2 liters.
Right. So
I think that's a liter and a half, right?
1.5.
Yeah.
So this is 6 cups.
Yeah, so drink this and then another third of that.
Right.
Minimum. And if you're an active person, another cup. Oh, and if you are a coffee drinker, we're not going to count that. Yeah, so every coffee that you have, every coffee or caffeinated beverage, whether it's an energy drink or a coffee or whatever, you need to drink an extra cup of water. Right. Coffee is a diuretic. It does make you pee. So people think, oh, I had a coffee and then I have to go to the bathroom. I peed, I drank fluid. Okay, yes, you drank fluid, but it causes the body to excrete more water than it was actually able to utilize, and so it has a dehydrating effect, which we know is bad for the colon. So if you are a coffee drinker, you need to increase that. If you're an active individual, you are losing fluid through sweating, so again, you need to increase that. So have another cup to 2 cups when you work out, and then you just don't count that for your total.
So
okay.
That's 1.
Yeah.
So one is water intake.
Increase your water.
Intake, and then that's so key. What Julia said about, because what also depletes water, if you're athletic, is the breathing. You breathe it out.
Totally. Excellent point.
You lose
yes.
water through that. So that's another reason. Both sweating and respiration. You increase both when you're working out. So you definitely. And what's number 2?
Okay. Oh gosh, there's so many to pick from.
I know.
But I'm gonna. Okay. So number 2, you might think I might say increase fiber, but that is like so basic.
Right.
So my number 2 is actually take magnesium. Okay. Going back to the nervous system, stress, that colon is a muscle situation. The magnesium will relax. It's a muscle relaxant, and it will relax the colon so that it relaxes and the waste product can flow through. So effective.
How much per day? How many milligrams per day should they take? How many capsules? What do you recommend?
Okay, so
and should they take, because magnesium and calcium, you just see them together.
Yeah.
But we have a ton of magnesium through different sources. So we have a ton of calcium that comes through in different sources. So we need the we don't often get enough magnesium, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you take calcium with magnesium, or I should say when you take magnesium with calcium, your calcium kind of steals it and uses it for itself to be absorbed, because the calcium needs the magnesium for absorption. But magnesium, it doesn't need calcium. It performs its own enzymatic reactions aside from the calcium. And so take magnesium on its own, like by itself, without the calcium. I would start with at least 200 milligrams, and if you don't go, I would increase it. And I know that's not what the bottle says, and I know that turns into the self-medicating, but the reality is we're very magnesium deficient. It's one of the most common minerals depleted from our soil, and so it's not uncommon for us to have to take more than the recommended dose in order to feel a little more optimal. We're not trying to be basic here, right? We're trying to be optimal.
That's right.
So, I mean, you could go 200, 400, you can go up to 600. Until you get a proper bowel movement.
And I guess the toxicity level, like vitamin C, you get diarrhea, right? If you're too far.
Yeah, yes. It depends on the type of magnesium you're taking.
Right,
if you're taking a cheaper form of magnesium, you get more waste from the magnesium, and that causes the stomach to kind of rumble, and you get like the issue.
Yeah.
But yes, you do get sort of a tolerance where if you took too much, it can relax it too much, and then you get a loose stool. So start low, and if there's no movement, increase. And you can increase by 150 milligram or 200 milligram.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So thanks, Julia. Now, we're going to come back. I'm going to get her to do another video next week, so tune in. And so if you want to get in touch with Julia, Julia also does a lot of speaking. So if you want her to come to your organization or your group or whatever it might be, how do they get a hold of you?
Oh, they can just find me on my website. It's jknutrition.ca.
jknutrition.ca. And we'll scroll it on the bottom or put it on the side. You'll see that information. And also what we'll do is we will give you a primer, a little download that you can get, almost like a transcription of what she just said, and also a fun stuff here. We'll give you a bowel movement chart.
Yes.
Awesome. Isn't that awesome? Anyways, we'll give you a bowel movement chart just to get that bowel moving, because at the end of the day, it's all about optimal health. And I love what Julia said. I love what Julia just said about the body giving you clues. This is something I'm always trying to tell my clients. If we're but we're so busy on our treadmill that we don't get the clues. It's an amazing. It was built for survival and proliferation of the race and the human race. And there's so many signals it gives us. So anyways, we go on and on about the magic. We were just talking about this earlier, the magic of the human body. If we just get off the treadmill and start paying attention, we would achieve optimal health, no problem. All right, so that's it for now. We've gone on. If you want to visit me, check out our website, the Center for Healing and Performance.com, journeytopersonalgreatness.com. And if we can help you, get in contact with us. There's lots of seminars coming up. I'm planning some amazing events in the future. One very soon in August. I'm doing the first event in Toronto, and I'll give you more information on that. Visit our website, and at the end of the day, what I look for when I give you all this information is so you can be relentless about your pursuit for personal greatness. So tune in next Wednesday. I'm bringing Julia back for one more session, and seal her for even more. So, until next time, peace and love. I'll see you on Saturday.
Today's a new day. Pull your bridges up and tie your shoelace. Don't worry about them haters, send them bouquets. Get that dough in a few ways. Pack your tears up inside your suitcase.